Every day, consumers make choices about what foods they'll eat and what foods they'll feed to their families. That's why Beef Checkoff funded research is so important to help ensure those consumers continue to choose beef when they make their purchasing decisions. And joining us now to talk more about how NCBA helps to manage these efforts is Dr. Mandy Carr-Johnson, Senior Executive Director of Scientific Affairs. Dr. Johnson, thanks again for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us just a little bit about your team and why the work they do is so important to our industry.
We have a great team of research scientists across many different disciplines, trained at some of the leading universities across the country, from meat scientists to nutrition scientists to registered dietitians, all the way to those working on food safety, sustainability, and understanding the consumer base today.
And so tell us, what are some of the types and kinds of research that they do on behalf of the Checkoff?
So we have a really strong team in our technical research area. So these are individuals that work on product quality. So a meat scientist, an understanding about beef's eating qualities and how consumers engage with it. Nutrition research, scientists really looking at the nutritive value of beef and how that can play a role in consumers' diet today, all the way to understanding the safety of beef, particularly from a pre-harvest standpoint, and what we can do in that area to improve that end product safety, but also sustainability. And how can we continue to demonstrate that beef is a sustainably raised protein today across the country?
But it's not just about technical research, if I'm not mistaken. You also do some work in the area of consumer research. Is that right?
We do. So we have a team of scientists that work really understanding the consumer. Daily, they're surveying consumers on a series of questions that really help us understand what are our limiters to beef demand, but also what will be the things that people find positive that increases beef demand, and how can we better understand that so we can address that through other programs like consumer marketing or engaging with our supply chain partners.
So once you generate results from this research, be it technical or consumer driven, how do you get that research into the hands of people that can actually do something in applying that?
So in our technical research area, we really based on the principle of publishing research through the stringent peer review process.
Okay.
So that might be in a scientific journal. It also is presenting that research through our scientists on the national stage, like at a national conference that brings the industry together, both academia and industry experts, to understand that information and then apply it. On our consumer side, it would be publishing articles in journals that maybe people read, or in popular press, and also providing it to our producers through segments like Directions magazine and other pieces of content.
So let's talk about that from a consumer standpoint for just a minute. I mean, can you give us any specific examples of how the work you do actually does help drive consumer demand for beef?
I can. I think one of the great examples is being able to show through our nutrition research program beef's role in a heart-healthy diet that's typical of a Mediterranean-style diet, which typically doesn't have a lot of beef in it. Okay. But through research, being able to show that you can replace the protein in that diet with beef and have similar impacts as the traditional diet. All the way to looking at the eating quality of beef and what has been our evolution in improving tenderness. And now also looking at those differences at what makes beef flavor the thing that makes people come back to it every time. So research really allows us to decrease inconsistencies, but also show how beef can play a positive role in diet, all the way to showing consumer demand and differences in what's important to them when they're picking their protein at home or at a restaurant.
And it certainly feels like more and more consumers see beef and view beef in a much more positive light than they once did. I'm curious, as you look ahead to the future, I mean, what do you anticipate some of the key research priorities being for you and your team?
Well, I think one of our key things is we have a research roadmap that we build with industry advisors that looks at those important areas on a 5-year plan that coincides with the beef industry long-range plan. Yep. So we're working through 2025 on that current roadmap, really in each one of those areas. What we are starting to do as the new long-range plan is developed for the industry, we'll reassess what those priorities are. So I think we will still have beef safety and pre-harvest, product quality, human nutrition, sustainability, and our consumer market research, but looking at the evolution of those different topics so that we stay in tune as the consumer continues to change.
Thank you, Mandy, for all you and your team do on behalf of the beef industry.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.